where we stopped. But Yanicha. What is this? Yanicha. Okay. Tika. Where? 1 minute. Kintu. Okay. Tatrahu. Now, some say, okay, this is the point here. Those texts which speak of the non-difference of everything from the Lord are spoken by Vyasa to indicate that everything is pervaded by the Lord and is under his control. Yani च तद् advaita bodhakani vakyani kvachid vikshiyante. Those few statements that are seen which convey advaita tani tanmatra ayatta vrittikatva tadvyapyatva adibhihi shastrakrita eva sangamishyante. They will be reconciled by the author of this scripture by pointing out that everything other than the Lord is absolutely dependent on the Lord alone, that everything other than the Lord is pervaded by the Lord alone, and so on. Then there's a sub-commentary on that. Nanu advayam bodhayanti iti shrutihi pratiyate. It appears that the Shruti conveys the teaching of a non-dual entity. Tasyaha kagati. What do you make out of that? Iti chet. If you were to ask this question, tatraha. The commentator says this. Tatrahu. Regarding this, some say, nacha dvaitam Vedanta arthaha. Duality is not the purport of the Vedanta or the Upanishads. Sankhya adi shastraihi dvaitibhihi jiva brahma swarupa aikya rupataya tad arthasya akshepat iti. Because the Dvaita that is being brought out is that which is spoken in the texts such as the Sankhya. So in the Vedanta Shastra, there could be no establishment of the concept of Dvaita. Mandameta. But this is not a good idea. Apata vibhrajitena shruti arthena tesham tatha akshepat. Because only superficially it appears that the intention of the Shruti seems to bring about this idea. Nacha evam shastrantaratva asiddhihi vyavartaka visheshasatvat anyatha bhedavadinam tesham akshiptuhu na tattvasiddhihi. Now, If you had to say, then the Sankhya and other texts would also be actually be promoting Advaita. Why would they be a different set of ideologies? That is because uh, there is some distinction. Therefore, they exist. पूर्वसूत्रे ओके न च अद्वैतमेव तदर्थः अस्तु सूत्रैः असकृत् निराकरणात् इति. One cannot say that Advaita alone is the factual teaching of the Shruti, because there are sutras which continuously deny that. पूर्व सूत्रे विषयवाक्ये जगज्जन्मादि हेतुभूतं ब्रह्म जिज्ञासं ज्ञातुं ध्यातुं च ईशणीयम् इति श्रुतम्. In the previous sutra, in the Vishaya it was pointed out that Brahman, who is the cause of the birth, of the creation, and so on, of the universe, is meant to be the object of inquiry. We have heard that it is meant to be learnt about, meditated about, it is meant to be desired. Kshiti ankura adikam sakartrikam karyatvat घटवत् इति अनुमानेन अपि तद् बोध सिद्धौ किं श्रुत्या इति आक्षेपसंगति आरभ्यते. The land, the seeds, and so on have been designed because they are effects like a pot. Through such logical inference also, it can be established that there is a supreme, all-pervading being who is the cause of the creation, maintenance, destruction, and so on. So then why would you require the help of the Shruti? With this in mind, a new topic for discussion and analysis commences. Okay, back to the commentary. Shastra drishtya tu upadesho vamadeva vat iti uparishtat. That Vyasa himself has stated that everything is pervaded by the Lord and is under his control, and this is what is conveyed through statements that speak of the non-difference of everything with the Lord. So then he quotes from Vedanta Sutra 1.1.30. 1.1.30 makes it clear that these statements of identity only mean that everything other than Brahman is absolutely dependent on Brahman, and that everything other than Brahman is being pervaded by Brahman, and so on. Atha jagatjanmadi hetuhu purushottamaha avichinthyatvat vedantena eva bodhyaha natu tarkaihi iti vaktum arambhaha. For the new section, the seed idea is this. The cause of the creation and so on pertaining to the universe is Purushottama, Lord Purushottama. And because Lord Purushottama is inconceivable by nature, he can only be known through the Vedanta or the Upanishads. He cannot be revealed through logical inferences or tarka. Sachidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaye Gurave Buddhi Sakshine iti Gopalataapanyam Tam tu Aupanishadam Purusham Prichhami iti Brihadaranyake Pathyate cha. Now the author wishes to say that the Supreme Lord, being the cause of the universe, cannot be known by argumentation but only by the Vedanta. I offer respects to Krishna, the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, who performs actions without fatigue, who is to be known by the conclusion of the Vedas, who is the guru of all knowledge, and who reveals himself by guiding the intelligence of the jiva. This is Gopalatapani Upanishad 1.1. I inquire about the Lord who is known in the Upanishads. This is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.9.26. Subcommentary. Vedanteshu mumukshu pravritti anupapattihi purvapakshe phalam siddhante tesham pravrittihi iti. According to the Purvapaksha, or the view of the opponent, one who is seeking liberation is not required to engage himself with the Vedantic scriptures. That is the goal of the Purvapaksha. The Purvapaksha wants to establish that. According to the Siddhanta Paksha or the Uttara Paksha, the conclusive, the party that advocates the conclusion, which is us, they should engage themselves. Anyone who is seeking liberation must study the Vedantic scriptures. With this in mind, quotes Satchidananda Rupaya, Satchiditi, Aklishtam ashramam yatha syat tatha bahusyam iti sankalpa matrena karoti jagat iti aklishtakari. This word, aklishtakarine, is being explained. Who performs actions without fatigue, without undergoing any fatigue, simply by willing. May I become many. Simply through that will, he creates the entire universe. Therefore, he creates without any fatigue. Athava, another meaning, bhaktan aklishtan karoti iti tatha bhutaya iti artha. Aklishtakarine also means one who does not allow his devotees to experience any fatigue while they are engaged in activities of devotion to him. Atra sarvada sevyatvam uktam. So in this way, it is pointed out that Lord Krishna is meant to be the object of service at all points in time. Tam tu Upanishadam purusham prichami. Upanishada pratipadyate aupanishadaha shaishikan pratyaya. I inquire about the Lord who is established in the Upanishads. Iti Brihadaranyake Pathyate cha. So we find in Gopalatapani and Brihadaranyaka these two texts, Iha Samshayaha. So the doubt is this, as follows. Upasyaha harihi anumanena upanishada va vedyaha iti. The object of meditation, Lord Hari, can he be known through anumana or logical inference, or through the Upanishads? Gautama adyaihi mantavyaha iti shrutyacha abhyupagamad anumanena savedyaha iti prapte. Because sages such as Gautama, now Gautama is the one who teaches the Nyaya doctrine. Nyaya sutras are written by Gautama. So since Gautama and others, they accept that one should use logical inference. And the Shruti also says, Atmava are drashtavya, shrotavya, mantavya. You should contemplate about him, which means you should use your intelligence to understand him. So the Shruti also accepts that one must think about him. One should use one's intelligence to think about him. The conclusion is anumanena savedyaha. He should be understood through logical inference.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Very well.
Yes, please continue, Prabhu. There was some internet problem,
Okay, okay.
so now it seems to be okay.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. I can see.
Okay, the doubt is this: can the worshipable Lord be known by inference or by the Upanishads? Purvapaksha, since Gautama and others said that the Lord can be understood by reason, Mantavyaha, according to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.5. On this Shruti evidence, also, one can conclude that he can be known by reasoning. So, this leads us to the upcoming Sutra 1.1.3. Shastriyo Netvat. Oh, what is this? It's going so fast. The Lord cannot be known by reasoning because the source of understanding the Lord is the Upanishads. In the word Shastriyonitvat, Shastra refers to the Upanishads. Yoni indicates that Brahman, the Upanishads are the source of knowledge pertaining to Brahman. So, because Shastra is the source of knowledge regarding the Supreme Being, therefore, he cannot be known by logical inference alone. Ikshatehe na iti ataha na iti akrishyam. The word not should be added to the start of the sutra from the next sutra. It will come later on. Shastrayonitvat tattu samanvayat ikshater na ashabdam. So in that the word na comes. That na should be brought out here. By the rules of and conventions of the sutra literature, these things, when one studies the grammatical sutras of Panini and so on, we learn that sometimes a certain word is implied in a particular sutra, which may be explicitly presented one or two sutras later also. Mumukshubhihi asau na anumeyaha. One who is seeking liberation from material existence cannot understand the Supreme Being through anumana, through logical inference. Utaha. Why is that so? Because Shastrayonitvat. Because the scripture is a source of knowledge about pertaining to him. No, those desiring liberation cannot understand by inference. Why? Because of the principle that the cause of understanding the Lord, Yonitvat, is the Upanishads, Shastra. Because it is said that the Lord is to be understood through scriptures. Okay, you'll come here. Okay. Shastreti na anumeyam brahma. Kutaha shastreti. Kutaha shastreti. Vedavedyatva avagamat. Because we understand that the Supreme Being is an object of is meant to be known through the Vedas. Na avedavin manute tam brihantam iti sputam mana antara pratishedacha. And because no other source of valid knowledge is considered acceptable through the scriptural statement, na avedavit manutetam brihantam. That great being cannot even be conceived of by one who does not know the Vedas. So now it's very explicitly, clearly, it is pointed out that he can be known through the Vedas alone. शास्त्रेति शास्त्रेति आदिषु हेत्वादि प्रतीकेन हित्वादि बोधयन् भाष्यकृत समास व्याख्यातृत्वं स्वस्य व्यञ्जयति. Because this is the very reason, this is the very reason for knowing the Supreme Being. Therefore, he is speaking further. Shastram Upanishad Yonihi Bodha Hetuhu Yasya Tatvat Upanishad Bodhyatva Shravanat Iti Arthaha. Shastra refers to the Upanishad. And Yoni here means the source of knowledge and understanding. Because this is the situation, meaning because we hear from the scriptures that Brahman can be known only through the Upanishads. Anyatha, Upanishad Samakhya Virodha. Otherwise, the very concept of understanding through the Upanishads will be contradicted. Ekakshara kritam gauravam tam tva na apanayasi nano swabhakikasu mukhvishu bahu akshara kritam gauravam asti tat katham na apanitam iti chet na swatantra itchutvat. Now, one minute, I'll just take this up. A very interesting, meticulous point that is coming up. Why does the author of the sutras have to write in this complicated manner? Why can't he just state it in a straightforward manner? Why does he have to write in this complicated manner? So the answer to that is the sages are independent in their desires on how to communicate their ideas. So you cannot complain about that. Now, regarding this idea that one cannot, if one were to conceive otherwise, then he would be contradicting the very concept of the Upanishads. So then he explains it. Samakhya yaugikaha shabdaha swa anusari shuti anukulaha. Just the very word Upanishad itself, etymologically, it helps us understand that one must contemplate in a manner that is favorable to the teachings of Shastra. One cannot simply contemplate in any manner. That very expression Upanishad itself indicates that one must go to a guru and study these from somebody who studied the Shruti and so on. So there's no scope for independent reasoning. Mantavya iti Shrutyatu swa anusari tarkaha abhyupagataha. When the Shruti says Atma va are drashtavya shrotavya mantavya, the Supreme Atma should be contemplated about, then it is understood that tarka or logical inference should be utilized, but it should be in line with the Shruti. Purvapara virodhena kortho atra abhimato bhavet ityadyuhanam tarka shushkat tarkam tu varjayet ityadi shrute. Because we learn from the scriptures that there's a particular method of how to use logical inference. Okay, here. Otherwise, if the Lord could be understood by inference, it would contradict words like Upanishadam. the Lord who is understood through the Upanishads. Logic which follows after the scriptures can be used to understand the Lord. That is the sense of the word mantavyaha, to be reasoned. Shruti says, Urvapara virodhena kortho atrabi mato bhavet. Ityadyam uhanam tarka shushkat tarkam tu varjayet. Reasoning which determines the meaning by resolving all contradictions with previous and later statements is correct argumentation. Argumentation should reject dry logic. There's a statement in the Kurma Purana. Kaurme, Vanaparvanicha. It is also found in Vanaparva of Mahabharata. No, this is found in Kurma Purana, and Vanaparva says, Shushka Tarkam Parityajya Ashayasva Shruti Smriti Iti Uktam. It is stated that one should abandon dry logic and one should take shelter of the Shruti and the Smriti. Okay. Gautamadi Shushkat Tarka Heyatvam tu Vakshyate Tarka Pratishthanaditi. The futility of dry reasoning of Gautama, Nyaya, and others is stated in Tarka Pratishthanad Brahma Sutra 2.1.11 that Tarka or logical inference is baseless. Tasmat Vedantat Viditva Aso Dhyeyaha. Therefore, knowing the Lord from the Vedanta, having understood the Lord from the Vedanta, one should meditate upon him. The subcommentary has a remark here. Atra anumanam tarkascha nirasyate. Now here, in the statement of the Vanaparva that was quoted here, give up dry logic and take shelter of Shruti and Smriti, both Anumana, overall logical inference, as well as Tarka, which is a sort of conjectural argumentation that is a part of the entire process of logical inference. Both of them have been rejected. Anumana nirase tad dharma bhuta vyapti shanka nivartakaha tarkaha api nirasyate. When the validity of logical inference in this matter is denied, then tarka, which is a form of conjecture, which removes doubts on the basis of logical inference, is also denied, is also rejected. Tarkanashe tarkan nishchita vyapti dharmakam anumanam cha nirasyate iti bodhyam evam paratracha. And when a conjectural argumentation is refuted, then the overall logical conclusion derived is also refuted. This should be understood now, and it will be explained further also. Idameva adushtam pramanam iti sutrayati. This is an authoritative statement without fault. Shrutesu shabdamulatvaditi. There is no defect because scripture declares it, and scripture is the root of all knowledge about Brahman. 2.1.17. Itham cha harehe atmamurtitvam anubhutehe anubhavitritvam swa atmaka dharmadhisthana shalitvam. जगत कर्तृत्व निर्विकारत्वं वा इत्यादि श्रूयमान रूपतया तस्य उपासनं सिद्ध्यति. It will be known from scripture that the Lord has his own form, that he is the cause of the experience of all knowledge, that he is the basis of his own qualities, that he is the cause of the universe, and that he is without change. After learning this from the scriptures, one can worship him properly. So the idea is that unless one understands him correctly, it is not possible to engage in meditation upon him properly. स्व आत्मकानि हरि अभिन्नानि यानि धर्म अधिष्ठानानि गुणधामानि तच्छालित्वं तद वैशिष्ट्यम इत्यर्थः. We should understand that the qualities of the Supreme Lord, or the basis of the qualities of the Supreme Lord, which refers to his personal features, his abodes, and so on, they are directly possessed by the Lord. He is directly qualified by them, and they are not different from him. अथ केवल कर्मज्जनानां मतम् अनुवदति तत्राह इत्यादिना. Okay. Let me move forward here. So then he takes up the opinion of the materialistic karmis, who believe that one should only engage in certain pious rituals in order to attain the highest goal. Tatraha na khalu tavad Vedanta vakyaganaha prayoga yogyah. This is Purvamamsa. Siddhartha bodhakatvena prayojana shunyatvat saptadvipa vasundhara ityadi vakyavat. Objection. In that case, the statements of the Vedanta would be impractical. They would be devoid of use, meaning practical use, since they reveal what is already known to exist. They are like the statement, the earth has 7 continents. In other words, if a scripture were to say something which can be known through ordinary geographical research, what is the unique value of these scriptures? Scriptures are meant to be valuable only by giving information that cannot be reached through pratyaksha and anumana. This is acceptable to both Purvamimamsa and Uttaramimamsa also. Prayoga yogyaha upadesharhaha. The Upanishads are not fit to be instructed. You're not fit. They're not texts that are worthy of being imparted through instruction.
So now they're arguing that okay, what you say may be true, but then in this case, there is no practical value.
The Upanishads are just giving information. What's the use of information? We require practical guidance on what to do, what not to do. So what is this whole idea of studying about the nature of Brahman? This theory is not going to help you at all. This is Purvamimamsa. It's coming right now. Pravritti dimvritti rupa sadhya artha bodhakani vakyani prayojana vatvat prayoga yogyani drishtani. Statements which reveal actions to be performed or avoided are practical since they are useful, since they are seen to be useful. Arthalipsur nirpam gachet mandagnir na jalam pibet iti loke. For example, the man desiring money should go to the king, or a person with weak digestion should not drink water. These are just examples from the world at large. Swarga kamo yajeta suramna pibet iti vedecha. And then you find in the Shruti, it is said, Swarga kamo yajeta, a person with a desire for Swarga should perform sacrifice. And it is said one should not drink liquor. Nahi prayojanam anuddishya vakya prayogah sambhavati. It is not possible to make statements without indicating a goal to be achieved. Tacha pravritti nivritti sadhya ishta apti anishta parihara atmakam avagatam. And when we talk about statements, we mean statements that are either positive statements to help us attain a desired goal, or negative statements that avoid an unintended result. Okay, where is this? Tacha. 1 minute. I'm trying to look out for. Okay, 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 okay. Got it. I got it. Tacheti. Tacha prayojanam. Jyotishtoma adi. Pravritti sadhya. Swarga adi. Ishtaprapti rupam. Surapanadi. Nivritti sadhya. Anishta parihara rupam cha iti artha. So a practical statement of guidance means you engage in Jyotishtoma sacrifice. And by doing with the desire to attain Swarga. And you will attain Swarga. You give up drinking Sura or liquor. That injunction is directly there. You just follow that. And in that way, unwanted experiences you will be saved from having to undergo unwanted experiences. Anishtam pratyavaya. Unwanted experience refers to a reversal. You will lose pious credits. Brahma khalu parinishpannam vastu. Brahman, however, is an already existing object. Brahma iti parinishpannam siddham vastu natu karmavat sadhyam iti arthaha. See, it is already existing. It is not like something that you need to create, like, for instance, pious credit. You will need to create pious credit in order to attain the result of such pious activity. You cannot create a Brahman. Brahman already exists. Tad bodhakasya satyam jnanam ityadi vakyasya tatshunyatvat na tad yogyatvam. Statements like Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, which describe Brahman, are not practical for application since they're devoid of statements of action. So there are no injunctions that come along with that. Tachunyatvad. Na tad yogyatvam. Tachunyatvad iti. Prayojana shunyatvad. Prayoga arhatvam na. Because there is no goal here to be achieved. In other words, it is impractical. That entire set of Upanishad literature inside the Shruti, that portion of Shruti known as Upanishads, simply talking about something which already exists. It is not giving you practical guidance on what you need to do in order to attain something. You need to attain something. So, first of all, you need to have a goal. If you don't have a goal and you have no means to help people attain the goal, then your statements are not fit for practical application. Yadi kaschit tam prayukshuhu bhavet tarhi prayojanavat vakya ekavakyataya tam prayunjanaha tasya api tadvatvam bruyat. If someone wants to use these statements about Brahman, one could make them useful by making them statements of a goal. Tasmat kratu devata kartri pripadanena tadvan tadvakyaganaha tadyogyaha bhavati iti. One should utter those statements in this manner by describing a sacrifice, a devata, or performer of sacrifice. Statements can become useful in performing sacrifice. Ahachaivam Jaimanihi. Jaimini also states this. Amnayasya kriyarthatvad अनर्थक्यम अतद अर्थानाम तस्माद अनित्यत्वम उच्यते तद्भूतानां क्रियार्थत्वेन समम्नायोर्थस्य तन्निमित्तत्वात् इति. Since scriptural statements which enjoin action are useful, statements which do not enjoin action are useless. This is Purvamamsa 1.2.1. Okay, we'll stop with this. We'll resume this next session. This is Purvamamsa. Okay. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna. I cannot hear you at all. Hare Bol. Panda Prabhu, can you hear me?